Welcome back, everybody, to Broadcast.GG's coverage of the Open Overwatch Division EU. The finals, essentially. Now, we're not all the way there yet. Who will make it? We're in the loser bracket 3, and we've got Orks versus Elo.Tick. And it's going to be a fun game here, especially because we saw Elo.Tick a little earlier. Personally haven't seen as much of Orks, but that's what we have analysts for, to help clue in the differences of teams you might not have seen and really talk about those intricate details. So I've got Panda and I've got Kenobi. We're going to talk about these teams. So Panda, what can you tell us about Orks?
Orks themselves, though some of you in our community might not know too much about this squadron. If you've ever ventured over to our distant relatives in Caster's Nest, they've been covering them a lot as well. These banding together of individuals have been held together for quite some time. In particular, with Dekis and Little Flame are the two players that you mostly want to look out for. They have the most time spent together for about a year at this time. Dakis's Reinhardt has actually been impeccable to watch all season long of Open Division. The only reason being is because we've seen in previous matchups with the one that we just saw with Shoes and Dopamine specifically that when you can enable your Reinhardt to be more comfortable on the battlefield, landing those Earth Shatters time and time again will then set up your team for success.
So I like that. And Kenobi, we've seen some of these Elo.Tick players before, and we've seen on stages like Cup. But what can we expect now that they're, into the losers bracket? And ultimately, the loser of this game is out.
Yeah, it's a winner go home. Yeah, winner go home. And with what we saw from Elo.Tick earlier, they almost got the reverse sweep onto Dopamine, just didn't manage to inch it out by just the tiniest of margins there. But they are a team that does have a lot of pedigree. You know, Pragi, their main tank, is the main tank for the German Overwatch World Cup team. They have a lot of World Cup players, so they do have a lot of that experience. And Panda talked about setting people up for success. A lot of it's going to be running through Conga on that Zenyatta. We saw last time, how big an impact those Zenyatas can have with those discords, with those transcendences, and also flexing over to that Ana. So a lot of this is going to be coming out from Conga to see how he can keep his tanks lines, make sure that Pragi is comfortable enough to go in, have that aggressive style of play that we like to see from him, and make sure that they can push them over this hump that is this losers bracket and try to get the contender spot. And also something else that they have for Elo.Tick, they have some secret strats, and if there's a time to pull it out, it's probably right now because it is a loser goes home.
Exactly. So the teams are getting to go pretty quick. So I've got to double up on this question. Who's a player to look out for, and which team are you picking to win? Kenobi, we'll start with you.
Definitely, again, Conga probably for me the best one to look out for the side of Elo.Tick, and I think it's going to be Elo.Tick taking a 3-1 victory here. They looked very good on when they were trying to reverse sweep Dopamine, just didn't make it barely. So I think they definitely have the momentum going into these next matches.
Right. What about you, Panda?
I'm going to go ahead and keep this in the support pool as well, but I'm going to go ahead and say for Orks, Starboy has been a standout player for me in particular. His Lucio play has been next to nil, just very impeccable. His speed boost, his aura usage to enable Dekis on the front line. Look out for that in particular from the support player.
All right. Okay. I like that. So, again, I'm kind of this weird situation. For me, I'm a Carnifex fanboy, so I'm going to go for Elo.Tick. I love watching the play from him. I think it's fun, and I think it's diverse. So I'm going to be going with Elo.Tick, and I can't wait to see this game because it's always very interesting when a team has back against the wall. But we are ready to throw it over to our casters. So Rapture and Vowels, take it away.
What's up, Overwatchers? Welcome back to our fourth and final set of the day here at Broadcast.gg. I'm Rapture here with Vowels for a losers bracket matchup between a squad that has had two squads that have had really solid runs through the bracket so far, Orks GP White and Elo.Tick. Vowels, you ready to get into this one?
Yeah, absolutely. We knew both these teams were going to be really good coming into playoffs. I possibly looking at Trials contention, maybe on the bubble, but where they find themselves now in the losers bracket in round 3, it's do or die time. You need to pull out all the stops now. You can't afford to be sloppy, make mistakes. If you lose this, you're out. You've got to wait 3-4 months for the next round of Open Division playoffs. So both these teams that are back against the wall a little bit, they need to see some adjustments from maybe what they've been doing so far. Mm-hmm. Both of them have done really well to get us home here, though. They are some of the best teams in Tier 3 Overwatch, and I'm excited to see what they can pull out for us.
Yeah, and we know what this means for the losing team. The winning team will be taking on HSL, who is the first seed, but dropped already to Operation Spawn Camp in winner's bracket, and that will be a Contenders Trials qualification match. So the winner of this will be moving on to get a chance to move to Contenders Trials. So a lot on the line already. And of course, if you lose, you're out. So that's it. This is the end of line for you. Moving on, first map here in Lijiang Tower, and Val's looking at these compositions. Any expectations for the first fight?
It is pretty standard. I like to see dive here instead of the more tank-heavy Reinhardt-based competitions. I feel like there's going to be a lot of pressure on Obling to try and stay out of Little Flame's view.
And already a scuffle in the front line, and it will be a Winston going down very early there. Progi, and then Oblong joins them. Little Flame, that burst damage from the McCree. Even though Carnifex will find them, they did their job and already stopping the push from Elo.Tick. Orks should be able to get this point, but it will be at least a bit of a contention, at least an attempt potentially from the red squad. They will not get there in time, but now they're going to engage on the outside of the point. That will be Hakan on the front line, bashing back the front line of the red squad here. Now we have the Winston jumping in the back, going after Little Flame, and Elo.Tick now trying to push that advantage as Progi and Conga get two. It's a 6v4 situation for Elo.Tick as they move towards the point, and there's nowhere really to be found here for Orks GP White. They're not going to be able to hold on to this. The breeze on the outside of the point, it shouldn't be enough to hold on. And eventually Elo.Tick should be able to get the point.
Yeah, it was great awareness from Progi at the start of that as they're just cleaning up here. You know McCree isn't the fastest character in the world. He's on his way back from spawn and he's going to be isolated. You dive him quickly, take out the McCree, and that gives Obling free reign on the Farah to clean up the rest of the fight. It's good turnaround so far. It was about 28% for Orks GP White, so they have built up some decent point charge, but there's a lot of ultimates coming online now for Elo.Tick. If they can get a great EMP off here from Carnifex, they could shut a push down before it even begins.
Yeah, Elo.Tick has 5 ultimates. As we see Orks GP White pushing through the back towards bridge, and now they've found their way on the point, led by the Winston and the D.Va, but they're met by the Winston and D.Va of their own. There's the barrage, and EMP coming out at the same time, and a Blink and Carnifex make it so there's nowhere for Orks GP White to run. They all get absolutely melted by that ult combination, and there's the team kill.
Yeah, there is some consolation for Orks GP White though. We saw Elo.Tick throw 3 ultimates into that. Maybe you need to invest the EMP after you already got 2 kills off the back of the barrage. There's still a couple tools to work with. You've got the Transcendence online for Kanga. Jomp's going to have the Self-Destruct, and there's the Primal Rage coming up for Progi as well. But there's a lot of tools online for Orks GP now. They've got a choice of weapons to try and recontest here.
They're going to rush right up onto the point, giving some room for the high noon for Little Flame to try and get some work done, but a Self-Destruct meets him. Little Flame will get the kill on Sean P, but immediately responds from the Self-Destruct, so it cancels out. There's a Transcendence popped by Conga, and it's responded by Apollo 11 with their own Transcendence. Bims gets the res thanks to that Transcendence there from Conga. And now, in control of the point, Elo.Tick has the advantage, but the supports are what's keeping Orks alive on the point so far as the tanks and DPS try to get some room back onto it. Primal Rage pop, Obling gets a barrage, it's unable to get pay dirt, and the blue kill feeder just going blue. Self-Destruct helped out there, Reckless gets Bims, and now 31% for Orks GP White. They will stop Elo.Tick for now at 81%.
And this is why we've seen teams running Lucio a lot more instead of Mercy in the place of main support. You sacrifice a lot of healing and the ability to resurrect, but you make up with it with such great mobility. You can chase down these low health targets that you couldn't reach before, and it's great follow-up from Orks GP to secure a couple kills there and turn the fight around. Carnifex is going to have another EMP, so this could be huge if Orks GP can't spread out.
That's the only ultimate they have going into this, unless they're going to wait out for the Valkyrie for Bims, so one resource that they might choose to burn here to get this quickly, but they are waiting just a bit, potentially for a pick. Bims now has the Valkyrie, so another ultimate online. Obling's about to get barrage. There's the Valkyrie from Bims, but Progi goes down early, and it looks like it might just be Elo.Tick waiting this out till they get full. Oh, they actually get a couple kills. Now trading, and Conga, both Transcendences popped at the same time. They're trying to salvage this fight here, Vowels. Here comes the high noon. Little Flame will get Carnage effects beforehand. Reckless finds Obling. In control of the point is Orks GP White, and they repel Elo.Tick, although Carnifex has not popped the EMP just yet.
Yeah, it's so vital actually that Little Flame managed to shut down Carnifex before the EMP could come out. It's not all lost yet for Elo.Tick. They still have that EMP and a barrage, but you need to win 2 more fights here to fully cap out the point, and Starboy has that sound barrier online. You need to try and contest quickly. They're going to dive onto Little Flame in the back.
And the EMP barrage combination again. Hakanzo, when it goes down, 2 ultimates burn, only 1 kill. Not what Elo.Tick needs. And the sound barrier from Starboy, as you pointed out, that's going to keep this Orks GP team alive on the point. Self-destruct from Reckless, not going to find Pay Dirt outside of the point, but it will zone out and push Elo.Tick into corners where Apollo and Little Flame are picking up the kills. Bims gets a res on Conga. Overtime now ticking away. And Carnifex is halfway to another EMP, but the rest of the team's not staying up alive, so Elo.Tick might not get to another EMP for this fight. Overtime still ticking away. Starboy and Dekis get on the board, and that's it for Elo.Tick. Orks GP White will take the first round.
Yeah, and Starboy has been putting an absolute clinic on for Lucio so far. He was shouted out with good reason in the pregame, and we're starting to see why. Some crucial frags, which you don't see too often for Lucio's, but the potential is there. But it's just small plays like hiding around the corner away from the EMP, and able to immediately invest the sound barrier after the EMP comes through, so Elo.Tick aren't able to capitalize. And when you're able to shut down some Brazilian like that, you massively reduce the effectiveness of what is one of the most powerful heroes in the current meta. So it's great work so far from Starboy. Elo.Tick need to do a little bit better on keeping track of him so he can't come in with these sound barriers. He can't come in with huge boops and huge drags and catch you off guard.
Yeah, and we can see how the Lucio also just gives your team an opportunity to get reinforcements back in. Often Orks GP White having all three of their supports locked in around that Lucio, or two supports are locked around the Lucio to stay alive and give the team an ability to get back onto the point. And now, as we go on to the second phase here of Lijiang Tower, nice biotic grenade early by Apollo. You can see Little Flame now on the Mei, so getting icy with instead of hot. Proggy gets slept, immediately brought back up, but Obling gets two. An advantage that Elo.Tick is certainly going to push, as the rest of the blue squad is going to fall back, and they have no choice here. Their souls are going to be taken away. Points going to be unlocked, and Elo.Tick will get the first capture.
Yeah, it doesn't matter that Orks GP brought out the white because Elo.Tick turned up the flame. Gonna see some immediately swaps coming out from Orks GP. They've abandoned the Mei strategy already. Apollo's moving over to the Zen. They've got Brigitte and Zaya coming out too, so already giving up on it. It's much harder to retake the point. You can't use the Mei walls as effectively.
Oh, Progi just got Earth Shatter though. The team at Dekis has to be in position to block this, but Progi's shield going down super low and they get stunned. Half HP. Earth Shatter comes down and is blocked fully by Dekis. And Lucio might have gotten hit by it, but doesn't get killed. Conga though with the coalescence, picking up the stock, finds Dekis. There's another one, 6v4 advantage here for Elo.Tick, and they're gonna push it right into the noodle spot. Progi is not unable to get their order in, and that'll be the Zenyatta Apollo also resetting Elo.Tick with yet another fight here, Vowels, and they're about to have 40%.
And it was crucial there, as you were saying, that Dekis was able to block the Earth Shatter. We've seen in an earlier series today, and recently at the World Cup, how much value Progi is able to get out of some of his Earth Shatters. So once you shut that down, it forces Kanga to invest the Coalescence to turn that team fight around as well. Elo.Tick still have a slight ultimate advantage because of the swaps that Orks GP had made, but it's much more even now.
Oh, Graviton gonna keep Orks in place for the self-destruct and the pin, so Dekis can't block it, and will actually be going down to it as well. Sound barrier and now a Graviton locking Elo.Tick in place, but the kills are not there despite all the healing that would give a lot of advantage from Starboy and the rest of the Orc squad. Reckless will shorter charge Program for the kill. Now an advantage here for Orks, and now they have all the players on the point. Conga can't sustain. Again, it's Bims alive, just trying to contest a little while longer, gets an extra percent. Now 78 for Elo.Tick, and they drop the fight.
Yeah, and it's crucial for Orks GP there that they come out of the fight with ultimate advantage as well. Not going to see any changes come out from Elo.Tick. Sean P was considering the Wrecking Ball for a brief while. We've seen them run that adaptation to this triple tank, triple support. They're not going to commit to it. They're just going to re-engage. Kanga's going to throw in the Coalescence now, but it's answered by a Transcendence.
Deck is swinging away, maybe showing his hand that he has an Earth Shatter there, and then it goes, oh, but Elo.Tick falls for it anyway, and their backs hit the ground flat. Dekis gets one. They're trading evenly until Reckless gets the D-Mag. Oh, and Progi was about to use Earth Shatter, but they get taken down by Reckless before it hits the ground. That's a huge loss for Elo.Tick. Even though they still have the Graviton, having that extra crowd control from the Earth Shatter would have been great to hold on to or get back to this point.
And if you're Elo.Tick, you can't afford to be losing ultimates like that. Progi tries to come up with a clutch play when the back's against the wall, tries to turn it around, but it's not quite there. Gets shut down just as the animation goes through. Can't actually capitalize, and you've effectively just thrown the ultimate to the wind. You need that back. It's all on Obling now to try and come up with a huge Graviton to turn this around for Elo.Tick.
Yeah, Little Flame has a Graviton of their own. They just got it. Reckless has a self-destruct. There's the Graviton. Oh, and there's no pickup by Sean P. It sucks up all of Elo.Tick. Self-destruct is not going to find kills. It's Dekis who gets on the board for 2 with the pin. Now charging and trying to get rid of this Zarya, and Obling is nowhere to run. They get killed. Reckless steals the kill from Little Flame. Now Sean P also getting D-Mech outside the point, staggered just a bit. Conga has nowhere to run, gets melted. Now it's about to be a tie here, Vowels. Orks GP about to rip it out from Elo.Tick Gaming under their feet.
Yeah, and there's so many tools still online for Orks GP. You have Deckest, Surf Shadow. You've got both your support ultimates coming up on the rally as well. Elo.Tick need a huge play, and they need it yesterday. They're going to invest a rally early, so they've got a little bit of extra armor, but they need to come up with something huge now.
And look at Orks has the Earth Shatter for 4! And it takes down 2/3 of Elo.Tick, but they're bolstered right back up immediately. Noah kills after that one. Self-destruct comes in. That doesn't confirm either. Transcendence from Conga. Now Elo.Tick has to push back Orks to the point, and they are doing so, but Deckest with the kill on Carnifex means that there's very little healing, as well as Hakan getting the right click. There's no healing left to keep the side of Elo.Tick alive. Orks takes the point, and they will take the map. They're now up 1-0 with that win on Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, and it's great work altogether from Orks GP. One of the most crucial parts of playing against a triple tank, triple support composition, especially when you're running your own, is being able to shut down the opposition Reinhardt. And that's exactly what we saw. Progi couldn't do anything that fight. Constantly shut down. He had Brigitte's in his face, he had Reinhardt's in his face. No matter what he did, he couldn't find an answer. All his shadows were blocked, all his shadows were cancelled. And Elo.Tick, who have been so reliant previously on Progi producing, they need to find an alteration here. Maybe you lean on Kanga a bit, one of the deadliest Zens in Tier 3, see if he can come up with something huge. Maybe you turn towards Obling and Champi on the off-tank roles, or maybe just switch off triple support altogether. You need to make some kind of alteration here.
Yeah, and you don't want Orks to start running away with it, especially on Rialto, where you can get full held really quickly, and all of a sudden you're down 2-0. And this is, of course, a best of 5, so you don't want to be in that situation. It will be Rialto as our second map. The teams have switched sides, so Orks GP White, after winning that map, will be on offense first. Elo.Tick in the blue. Both of these teams now getting a feel for each other, but how do you think they're going to transition now to Escort, but especially Rialto?
I feel like we're going to see Starboy for Orks GP tone it in a little bit on the Lucio role. When you play the payload maps, you normally think of him as the wins role, just kind of sits on payload, push it along while the rest of the team pushes forward. And I'm a little bit disappointed at that. I'm hoping he can still find a way to frag out, because it's been a treat to watch so far. That said, I do still give the slight advantage to Orks GP here. The aggressive style they've been able to play so far, I think it's going to translate over to Rialto, especially with some of these early defenses we see come out.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen that Orks GP White can already fight in a scramble, and it's certainly going to be a scramble at the beginning of the map where it's super close quarters. And will Elo.Tick be able to break through that and then run through? We've seen in earlier sets in the day where teams having some trouble on the first portion of Rialto, but once they break through that, they're able to cruise through to the third portion of the map. So can Elo.Tick do that as well? It will be Orks, though, first in the red. They'll be on offense. They'll be breaking out first.
Yeah, you're right. Defenses on Rialto are often all or nothing. You get full held almost outside your spawner at times, or you go and complete the map. There's no in between. I don't think I've ever seen a match of Rialto outside of my solo queue games ending in the streets phase. So it's really important to have a nice aggressive early hold, and that's why we see teams often holding at the spawn doors nowadays. So you can get the first fight in and then still be able to recontest before they can cap the first point. It'll be interesting to see if the teams do keep up that aggression. We've seen much more of it from Orks GP White and Elo.Tick, but it can still go either way.
And characters that are pretty frequently seen on this map, especially today as we've been covering Open Division throughout the day, Sombra and Doomfist. Do you think either of these teams are going to end up selecting them?
We are going to see Carnifex coming out on the Sombra again on this defense for Elo.Tick. I like that pick. It's been probably his best hero through the matches today, so I'm glad they're giving that another go. The most interesting thing to me is that Obling is going to be picking up the Pharah. It's the same look as what we saw on Gardens for Lijiang earlier. It wasn't incredibly effective, but that was largely because of Little Flame's present on the McCree. I'd be very surprised if they did run a McCree on the offense here instead of one of these more tank-heavy comps. That should give Obling a bit more free reign to play around some of the map geometry, hide behind the buildings, and put a lot more pressure on the Pharah.
We'll see how it works out for them for sure. A unique composition, the Pharah and the Sombra on DPS, you don't see very often, but on offense, another Sombra, Hakan gonna be picking that one, and still with Deckest on the Reinhardt, still with Little Flame. Or Little Flame now on the Zarya, so slight changes here for the offense. Orks coming out, they are up 1-0. Again, everyone, this is a loser's bracket match. If you lose here, you're out. And there's the hack coming out from Carnifex already showing their hand, and Carnifex will get out of there, but hacks Deckest for now, so definitely looking for some boops here, especially from Obling as they try to dislodge Orks, and Deckest is just gonna charge over the bridge to avoid getting booped, and now putting some pressure on the tanks.
Yeah, the charge wasn't too necessary. Obling's attention was drawn anyway by trying to punish Reckless going after his main tank. Doesn't matter too much though. It's actually going to be Hakan cleaning up, taking out the tank line for Elo.Tick, and that's going to force Obling and the rest of Elo.Tick to fall way back. You've lost your tanks. It's okay. You build up a little bit of time. You've got some ultimate charge. Just wait it out now. Wait for it to regroup, and then you can refight here. That's why we see teams holding so early on the Alto first one.
Hakan gangs. Oh, Hakan slept. Gets detected, gets slept, and translocates out despite getting biotic grenaded, but Starboy still gets the right click. Khan now Dekis with a nice snipe onto Progi. Now it's an advantage here for the red side, and Orks pushing that. 3 from Dekis gets the DMAC that is on Sean in the end. Kanga has to go into the waters there, and wow, a huge advantage for Orks. 5 minutes and 15 seconds.
Yeah, and that's great work from Elo.Tick, the DoxGP white side, to just ignore the Farah effectively. You can give it free reign. Farah can give free reign all she wants from the sky, but she can't actually contest the point itself from up there. As long as you win the fight on the ground and Carnifex is getting this amount of value on the Sombra, then it doesn't matter so much if the Farah's raining down hell from above.
Dekis has his Earth Shadow. Progi has to get that shield up. Oh, but they are EMP'd first by Carnifex before they can act. A big biotic, though, from Apollo will help turn down Progi, and Carnifex is caught as well. Dekis still has the Earth Shatter and his biotic themselves, but Starboy for 3. Galaxy Brain out here from the Starboy. And Bims does get on the board, but certainly not enough to hold up Orks. Little Flame and Apollo will steal their souls away, and the payload keeps moving.
Yeah, and again, this is why we love seeing Starboy under Lucio. It's almost a Reddit Lucio mindset that everyone likes to criticize in your comp games, but it works here. OrksGP do a really good job of enabling him, and it really works. Elo.Tick haven't been able to find an answer for it yet.
Self-destruct combination with the Graviton confirms and takes out Obling. The Reinhardt will still stay alive through that, but Progi will get put down by Apollo in the end. So 3 pickups for Orks, and the DMAC, Sean's going to be staggered a little bit here, Val. So another decisive win. And look at how much time Orks is about to have. If they get into this checkpoint, they're going to have 5 minutes and 20 seconds. Plus, Dekis still with the Earth Set. They have so much room to work with, and they're playing super aggressive.
The only time this payload has stopped so far, the brief times it stops at every point while it goes through their cap and gives the defense a chance to regroup. They haven't really needed to use too many ultimates either. They're going to have 3 ultimates online coming up in the EMP2. Elo.Tick need to try and regroup and find an answer here. Carnifex has moved over to Brigitte to try and shut down some of the aggression coming out from OrksGP White, but the EMP is going to come out with an Earth Shadow.
Oh, and no punish, even though Dekis was charging and going up for the kills, the self-destruct, they didn't need to block it. The self-destruct doesn't get any kills there for Champ, and that'll be another cleanup again for the side of Orks. EMP to Earth Shatter combination will secure them the initial point of the fight, and now they're moving to the last corner with 4 minutes and 35 seconds in the bank.
Yeah, it's 4 minutes and 35 seconds and an ultimate advantage. Little Flame's been going absolutely huge with some of these Graviton searches. He's going to have another one here. There is a little bit of a breather for Elo.Tick as Reckless needs to fall back, regain his mech before OrksGP can properly push in, but it's still over 4 minutes on the time bank. We need Obling to come up huge with a Graviton here. If Bims needs to stay out of the way with Sound Barrier as well to try and invest it after a huge Graviton comes through, but we need something big here.
Little Flame waiting out the Graviton. Nice positioning by Little Flame, staying out of the way of the Graviton, and at 100 charge or so, and waiting out the defense matrix from Sean. Earth Shadow though, and dodges that as well, but the rest of their team isn't that lucky. Little Flame still holding on to this Graviton, but the rest of Orks has to fall back as Obling, their counterpart, picks up 2 on the tail end of the Graviton of their own. And now 3 minutes and 45 seconds, Orks will be thrown back from the payload for the first time in a little while.
And the even better news for Elo.Tick is that they got some ultimates out of the opposition as well. OrksGP had to invest both their support ultimates there. They're going to swap Apollo over to the Moira instead of Rihanna, so they would have lost the ultimate anyway. That said, Hakon's got the EMP on live. These have been so huge so far, especially combined with the self-destruct and the Graviton. We could see the Orks coming right back into this.
Yeah, you're definitely not wrong there, but the EMP doesn't catch Bims, who's able to throw out their sound barriers, so the defense holds on pretty handily. And Obling gets another Graviton very quickly. Little Flame's still at about 23% or so, but Obling had just used theirs in the previous fight and had it ready for the next one. There's the Earth Shatter. Carnifex can't get into cover in time. Self-destruct on both sides. Sean and Reckless both trade 1. Obling again, another double kill, and that will be a hold for Elo.Tick once more as their tanks coming out on top against the red side, Orks GP White, when they trade ultimates.
And it's a crucial self-destruct from Chompy there as well, to be able to shut down, to follow up on the Earth Shatter, and then they can turn it around off the back of Obling's Graviton as well. Elo.Tick are finally starting to look like the team we thought they could be. They're putting up a bit of a hold here. They do have Progy's Earth Shadow as well. If he can get back into his mojo, come up with another huge slam here, we could see an even more decisive defense.
And there's the Earth Shatter. It only finds Reckless though. Artifacts gets caught beforehand. And Reckless will get out of dodge, jumping all the way up to the rooftops of the building. Gets D-Mech. There's the Graviton. Obling gets melted, as does Kanga. And there's the payload moving once more. Orks GP White nowhere to be found.
Yeah, Orks GP White managed to capitalize off the back of a Graviton, not punish some of the aggression coming out to follow up the Earth Shatter. There's still a moment here if Kanga can come out with a Transcendence. They're going to stall just on time.
Yeah, just in the nick of time. Less than a meter to go there, Vowels. Little Flame finds Bims, and now Progy trying to charge. Oh, but whiffs it, and Reckless punishes. Now Carnifex trying to stay alive against Dekis, but is unable to do so. There's a self-destruct. Will it be enough? The Desperation Bomb, and it's blocked immediately. The Graviton on the pillar now, and that comes out from Obling, but Obling gets cut down, can't follow through. Payload super close, still less than a meter, minute and 30 seconds remaining on the clock, and the offense needs to get rid of this defensive stagger. Now the self-destruct, but it's more than enough to keep everyone away, and punishable Carnifex gets earth-shattered by Dekis, who gets on the board for 3. Verret 50 cal with a fire strike at the end, a Graviton from Little Flame just for good measure, and there's the completion for Orks GP White. They will get all 3 points.
And it's actually incredibly unfortunate for Elo.Tick right at the last moment. They had a Diva Bomb and Graviton Surge combo that could have proved deadly. They could have been able to put a last minute offense, but the Graviton comes up on the wrong side of the pillar. Little Flame and Reckless, against their better judgment, are caught on the Graviton, but it's the wrong side of the pillar. They're protected from the self-destruct, and that means Elo.Tick can't put up the last minute hold. That said, with what we saw initially in the offense, and with the time bank we had coming into third point, you almost have to be happy that you cut it down to a minute 19. There is still some room for Elo.Tick to come back into this if they can keep playing like they were on that final point, because it looked like a completely different team.
You know, Vals, and you know what I think happened is that you started talking pretty nice about Elo.Tick, and they dropped the ball, you know? You jinxed them, man. Gave the caster's curse. It's okay. Forgot about the power you have as a caster. I understand it happens, but yeah. Elo.Tick, they definitely had those shining moments, but Orks GP White coming out on top with these, you know, ultimate combinations still, which has really been the theme of these sets, really, is which team can kind of, you know, have the right timing with their ultimates and use them and not burn like 3 or 4 ultimates to get like 1 kill.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting positioning from Orks GP White, hiding in the stairway with the 3-3 composition. We do see this sometimes if teams want to go for quite an aggressive hold. Well, they'll either hide here or hide to the bridge on the left. Doesn't really matter. They're going to try and contest on the bridge anyway, so Obling needs to be really aware here. Get up in the skies early, stay out the range of this quick offense coming out from Orks GP White, and try and maybe get a cheeky boop off if you can't get some rockets in either. Find a way to counteract this.
No, and the defense decided, we're not going to hold the high ground position. We're just going to push up right into your doorway and wipe your feet on the welcome mat. Reckless and Little Flame sitting on the payload, and they actually have the low ground up against Carnifex, who's on the Bastion sitting upstairs on the 2nd floor. Now they're raining bullets down from above, and Akon and Little Flame have no idea that was happening. They had to go right into cover just in time. Meanwhile, Little Flame almost getting caught up by Obling, and now Obling has their sights on this front line, trying to get the shield down, and the Reinhardts win. The rest of the team will all the way move to the right. They get biotic grenaded. They get over the right side bridge just in time too, as Obling was chasing them down, and the defense forfeiting the positioning they had gotten from an aggressive position. And now that payload will move through the first corner.
And this is the adjustment we saw earlier from Elo.Tick as well. It's a great barrage from Obling, actually manages to clean up. Carnifex gets in a couple kills as well, and that's going to be it. The defense is gone. They need to reset now, try and find a way to contest first point later on. We saw this adjustment in the match against Dopamine earlier. Elo.Tick coming out with this Arista Bastion composition. Not even a true pirate ship, if you look where they're setting up off to the side. It's a great way to shred through these triple tank, triple support compositions, especially when they go for the aggressive hold and aren't able to adjust on time. Little Flame's way off in the back on Desire. If they can, they might be able to actually isolate him and stagger him out if they can get there quickly.
Oh, Carnifex gets slept just as they're getting towards tank mode as well. Oh, and then the stun. Great play there by the Orisa, putting their body in the way so Carnifex doesn't get pinned, but that gets still confirms the kill. They're nano boosted and now moving up farther. 3 kills on the board there for Orks GP as the payload will come to a halt. And not only that, they have control of it so they can sit in front of the payload and deny that healing and extra positioning from the offense.
Yeah, and I feel like Little Flame was almost bait there. Chompy commits to trying to punish the out of position Zarya, but drawing the attention away means they're able to turn around, take out the Orisa and Bastion setup. So it's great work so far. Going to see a full adjustment from the offense, moving back to this more traditional triple tank, triple support. Anno on both sides as well as a slight adjustment. Hakan about halfway to an EMP, see if he can come up with one.
Progi is swinging, they're nano boosted, so there's no shield, and Dekus gets 4 with the Earth Shatter, confirming some kills. They do get Biotic Grenade by Konga, but it's not enough to keep Orks away from this Elo.Tick squad. Now Little Flame has their Graviton, look for that in the next fight. A self-destruct from up above is not going to find Pay Dirt. Another Biotic from Konga, and then the EMP, that should be enough to confirm a win here for Orks. Hakan laying that down, Progi gets victimized by that. Shanti's like, all right, I guess I'm a submarine now. I'm going to go into the canal and take up a new career.
Yeah, and it's most crucial here for Orks GP White that they still have ultimate advantage. Hakan invests the EMP right at the end, but with only a minute 20 left on the board, you have 4 ultimates to 0 on the offense. Progi and Bims are getting towards their ultimates. Kanga's not far off either. But if you can stagger Progi like that as well, it's huge from Starboy. Gets taken out himself, but that's going to shut down this offense immediately.
You hate to see that kind of thing happen. And another delay. Now at a minute left here, Vowels. Orks GP White not even letting this go past the entirety of the courtyard. And the ultimates online is almost full. They almost have Dekus on the Earthshine. It would be 5 ultimates for Orks GP White. Little Flame is sitting on the high ground, waiting at the defense matrix for the Graviton. He throws it down. It doesn't get eaten. Now it's everyone in place for Elo.Tick, and Starboy takes kills. Little Flame kills another one. Obling nano boosted, but gets put into a corner and 2v1 down here by the tanks. And no way they're going to be able to get damage or help out Konga or anyone else left alive. 30 seconds now remaining on the clock for Elo.Tick.
There are 2 ultimates left on the board. They are both Earth Shatters. Progi needs to come up huge right now. If he can't get it back to the point quickly and can't come up with a team-winning Earth Shatter, this map is as good as gone for Elo.Tick. They need to find a way back into this map now.
Progi playing aggressively, trying to get positioning around the payload, gets bubbled. Oh, they get Biotic Grenaded, and then Dekus with the Earth Shatter comes in, EMP as well, and Little Flame picking up kills. It's just too many ultimates for Elo.Tick to handle. Overtime ticks away. Obling can't get to a grab in time to try and stifle the bleeding. And Orks GP will take another map. They're up 2-0.
Yeah, great aggression from Orks GP White, never giving Elo.Tick second chances, just constantly pushing in, trying to punish out of position players, and it's completely shutting down Progi on what is normally a really dominant main tank role. There is consolation prize, and that's the second time in a row that Obling has been able to get a play of the game with the Farah, but it doesn't really matter. You're still not... You're winning the fight, but losing the war. And when you're resorting to these tank-heavy compositions, the triple support, triple tank, or the triple tank paired with a Sombra, Orks GP is going to win every time. You need to find some other answer here.
And maybe the analyst desk has those answers for us. We're going to throw it over to them. I know Green Havoc, Panda, and Kenobi have some words for that. It's a 2-0 lead here for Orks. Let's see what they have to say.
I'm honestly a little surprised. Now, not to say that Orks couldn't take maps or win fights, but to look absolutely dominant through the first 2 maps, I'm a little taken back. So I have to ask, what's been going wrong here? Or actually, in fact, what's been going right, Panda, for Orks in these few games?
An overarching of the entirety of this match so far here, Green, has been how and what use is the ult economy to both these teams, alongside with how aggressive other teams can be. And I said in the pre-show as well, for Starboy, definitely for Orks, the way that he's utilizing his aura, his speed amp, on to Little Flame and Dekus, who have a multitude of months practicing with one another. They know how each other plays, and just enabling the speed boost to go past Progi. You can see the same problem that Elo.Tick were running into when they were facing Dopamine. They don't do well against the over-aggression play, and that's what Starboy is enabling for the entire team of Orks GP White. Just really methodical Lucio play around his auras, and specifically his speed, just enabling all of those assists. A very quick sound barrier charge coming through from this player in particular, always in the clutchest moments for his team.
And what's going, on the other side, what's going wrong here, probably most likely for the side of Elo.Tick, just to flip it over to the other point there is they don't seem to have that ultimate communication this game in the current meta, it's very important to have that communication with your ultimate users that Panda is talking about. If you're going to be hitting, those shatters into those grabs, into those self-destructs, you need to have pinpoint accuracy with how you're going to be setting those up, and they just haven't been doing it. And they're playing very reactionary at the moment, letting basically Orks walk all over them. And even though, Konga has been hitting some, really good nades onto the main tank, they just aren't going in. And so, for the side of Elo.Tick, this is a W key right here. This key is a W key. I want Elo.Tick to start hitting this more. Hit this and mouse button 1. Just keep hitting those 2 things, and you're gonna start flying over this team, because the Kest right now is getting antied, and Konga is hitting these huge antis, but they aren't capitalizing, getting that Decast out of the way early, and then capitalizing on the mistakes that we can be seeing from Orks.gg that are being made. I just really want to see them start to capitalize, because the pieces are there. You just need to put the puzzle together.
Yeah, I totally agree. So I have to ask this, as we prepare to go into the second half, are we staying with our picks, or do we feel like the tides are shifting?
I'm definitely staying with my pick, Green. That's for sure. Picking Orks was not just an underdog statement. It was a realization, was what it truly was. In between just clear cut and physical show of their communication, in between their tanks, their Reinhardt and Zarya to be specific, and just Starboy, man. I mean, he's always there on the cleanup. Just when you think Lucio is a support and you're ready to complain about Brig as being as a support, by the way, whichever you may say, there's Starboy on this Lucio, just speeding through off the walls of Rialto, punching everybody he sees, getting the cleanup when need be. Just another reason for why Orks is definitely going to convincingly take this one, in my opinion.
Okay, all right. I definitely like that, and I mean, you're totally right with Starboy's performance. He's been both incredibly reliable and very clutch. I mean, when a player's playing at that level, it's really hard to not have their team just keep pressing forward and getting their the maximum value. But we are ready to head into the second half, which means Vowels, Rapture, I hope you are ready to take this over, and let's see who is eliminated. On over to you guys.
Yep, you're indeed right. It is an elimination situation here for Elo.Tick. One more map drop, and they'll be out of the tournament. The winner of this taking on HSL in a Contenders Trials qualification matchup. But we're not there just yet. It's time for map 3, Temple of Anubis. And welcome back, everybody, to the cast here at Broadcast.gg. I'm Rapture, here again with Vowels, bringing in map 3. Vowels, we've seen 2 maps between these 2 teams. What do you think going into this third one?
I think Orks.gg just straight up look like a better team. I'm not sure how often the terms Lucio carry have ever been used in the context of analyzing actually pro Overwatch, but I feel like if there's ever a time, it's now. Starboy has been absolutely huge on the roll, constantly coming up with huge boots, completely not where you expect him to be, but beating everyone along, putting so much pressure on the tanks that you don't often see from the main support role, and it's a treat to watch. There's no other way to describe it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm certain Anubis will be the same way. We're going to see another defensive attempt here for Orks.gg White. They'll be in the blue, so not the white. That isn't a color. Though thanks to the colorblind mode, that could be an option. Not yet. Soon. Elo.Tick will be in the red on offense first. And for defense, no surprise we're seeing a composition with Widowmaker and Junkrat. A lot of pick potential, a lot of burst potential, and you have the shield to hide behind.
Yeah, and speaking of soon, I'm hoping for a great performance from Little Flame here. We know how good French snipers can be, and I do feel like that may be a factor here, the fact that Orks.gg is a fully French roster, whereas Elo.Tick is from all over Europe. Obviously, they can all speak English, but it's going to introduce some ever so slight communication issues slightly, and that might be a factor here. Either way, it's just natural synergy from Orks.gg. They're always on the same page. Little Flame sitting up on the high ground on the Widowmaker. He's already halfway to the info site, putting in so much early work.
Yeah, and if Orks wins this will be their 3rd set win in a row in losers. The only team they've lost to in this bracket is Operation Spawn Camp, who defeated HSL, the team that they'll play if they win this set. So Orks definitely a team to be reckoned with in losers bracket, and already being dominant here on Anubis. Going to be a left side push. And now the Genji going right down the middle. Obling, though, can't immediately jump in. And it's going to be, Khan getting too close for cover. We'll find Obling, but gets cut down by Carnifex. Still, the kill feed going blue here as Orks.gg White are repelling the offense with the help of Little Flame, but now they've lost their sightline. They have to fall down. Meanwhile, Apollo and Reckless pick up the slack. Little Flame has ult for the next one, so even if like a Sombra comes out, they'll be able to detect that easily. And to boot, Orks.gg will get the stagger onto Sean.
Yeah, and we're going to see a slight adjustment from the defense. Hakan is going to be moving over to Brigitte, puts a little bit more pressure onto the dive coming through, and gives you more of an ability to pocket Little Flame on the Widowmaker. That said, it's not Little Flame who's on fire right now, it's Apollo fragging out on the Zenyatta. We love to see these bloodthirsty supports, and if you can keep it up, it's just going to put even more pressure on Elo.Tick to try and recontest.
Speaking of pressure, Brogy jumping onto the high ground there, held by the defense, and not able to get too much work done, but they're already able to get the nano boost. Now they're just propelling themselves up to the point. Reckless gets stuck with a pulse bomb, but it doesn't make demech them. There's a biotic grenade, comes out there from Konga, but kills, won't fall immediately. Self-destruct right on the bubble, won't find Pater. Brogy now jumping on with the help of Bims onto the point, trying to demech Reckless, but Dickus is in the way. Now Konga falling back, helping out with a lot of healing, and is uncontested as well. It's Ana as Bims and Shop and Brogy will clean up shop. And now we have a huge contestation here. Elo.Tick finally has the advantage with the help of these tanks, and of course the Ana Konga put it in work. They will confirm point A.
And not just that, but it managed to drag so many ultimates out of the defense as well. The rally came through, you've obviously lost all the armor from that because you were wiped. The Valkyrie came through, only 20% to another one. They're going to have a Dragon Blade, a Sound Barrier, a Self-Destruct online, plenty of tools to try and quickly snowball this fight with. Elo.Tick might be finally turning around. Momentum is certainly on the side for once.
Yeah, Apollo 11 already stepping foot onto Bims. Pick up. There's a 6v3 advantage now for Orks, and they have the bongo behind the shield. It's almost too much there for Elo.Tick to handle, and just like that, the momentum is crushed.
You hate to see it. A little bit of hope for Elo.Tick suddenly snuffed out. Going to be a slight alteration as Dickus moves over to the Winston now, so this is really strange to see actually. Neither side is running one of these tank-heavy compositions. Not even Orisa. We're seeing good old-fashioned dive versus dive. This is a treat.
Sound Bearer coming in, Obling waiting as long as possible to pop this blade, gets the kill on the Dickus. Meanwhile, seeing a lot of Ana play here by Konga again on mitigate, just like the last fight. Transcendence pop by Apollo, moving in forward, trying to create some room, but Obling's gonna respond, looking for the mercy. Oh, reflecting, and that gives Reckless the opportunity to kill on the other side. And now it's a hold here for Orks as they're whittling down the offense, and Little Flame is giving them no way to poke out a cover. D-Mech Sean P now looking for Konga, trying to get a kill. Flashbang takes him down with 2. And Little Flame will get out with only 50 HP. Might have to fight off this baby Diva. Can't kill him before they get back into the cockpit. But still a huge advantage here for Orks GP as they will demech and stagger Shump and hold off the offense of Elo.Tick. Though Elo.Tick did get 2/3 of the point and then some.
Yeah, and with over 4 minutes left on the time bank as well, it's looking really good for Elo.Tick. They're in a great position here. They're going to make some slight alterations. I obviously spoke too soon about good old dive versus dive because we're going back to 3-3. You know what it is. Apollo having to pop Transcendence in the middle of that fight is already 80% to another one, however, so still plenty of tools online for Orks GP to put up a nice solid defense here. Yeah,
and Elo.Tick doesn't have any support ultimates online. It's just a little bit of a dry push to build something up, and of course, why not take a stab at the point? And that'll be, probably, Orks GP wanted to do the same thing. They don't want to really pop too many ultimates unless they have to. There's a high noon, though, from Little Flame. Probably the only thing they'll want to go for, and that's just going to zone Elo.Tick into the tomb room and clump them all up for some kills. Obling helps out, gets the kill off from Little Flame. They die from Little Flame, that is. And it'll be Orks GP holding on strong to the point handedly, again, not letting Elo.Tick breathe and clumping them up in a tight area to be cleaned up.
However, in the space of one fight, Proki has already been able to build up a Nerf Shatter. Kanga's going to have the Coalescence too. We've got Bims with the Sound Barrier, Shumpi's coming up on the Self-Destruct, so there's suddenly a hell of a lot of tools for this offense. If Proki can come up with one of the huge Nerf Shatters we know he's been capable of, we can see Elo.Tick actually taking this map. If there was ever time to step up, it's now. If you want to stay in Open Division playoffs, you need to win this map, and you need to start here.
Elo.Tick going for a left side push. And now they've made their way onto the point. They have Progi with that Earthshatter, like you said, getting very aggressive with that. There's no shield in their immediate way. And the Earthshatter means it's lined up for 3. And Transcends comes in and shot with the Self-Destruct confirms out the Earthshatter for 2. Starboy gets the res onto Hakan, and Hakan's immediately trying to get Carnifex back. But it's a 3v1. And there's nowhere for Hakan to go. Little Flame also cut down. And Elo.Tick held off. A Graviton completely whiffed. Pretty much unnecessary at this point here. But now, with the red side has a majority on the point, Elo.Tick's 2-1. Bims and Progi getting kills. They have a bunch on. The defense now has to try and stagger, but they don't have anyone on the point except really this D.Va to keep themselves from getting mauled the second they touch the point. The Doomfist from Little Flame goes down if they moved over from the McCree. D-Mech is reckless. Still contested as the point somehow, and that will be it though. Elo.Tick will confirm and get the 2 points.
It's not a term we use often in a positive context, but it was a good zoning ult from Desire there.
Yeah.
The Graviton Surge, while it didn't catch anyone directly, it forced Winston and Zenyatta to just hide around in the corner. They can't actually recontest there, and that's where the stagger started to truly come in. It looked like there was a moment where Orks GP could contest that with a 4-man roster. It's not great, but it's still something. You can still turn that around. The Graviton to zone out Dekest and Apollo actually makes it a 2v6 followed by another 2v6, and that's when they truly got the momentum going with that hold. So I'm gonna play a devil's advocate there. I like that Graviton, and it's a great work from Elo.Tick to finally cap out this point. Minute 56 left on the time bank. It's not gigantic, but it's something. You now have potential to actually work with, and now you need to put up a good defense.
I think you're definitely right with the Graviton, because towards the end you saw how the D.Va was really the only one left in the point, able to create space for the rest of the team, because that Graviton held off the Winston and other players from getting onto the point immediately. So you're definitely right in that call. Now we'll see Orks GP White on the offensive attempt here in blue. They have to try and at least meet the bar for Elo.Tick, which has been set at 1 minute and 56 seconds with those 2 points gathered here on Anubis. And for this defensive composition, we're again seeing the Junkrat and the Widowmaker.
Yeah, it's pretty standard for Oasis nowadays. Anubis, not Oasis. It's close enough.
They're both deserts. Oasis is probably nearby. It's like probably on the other side of the city.
Yeah, maybe next door neighbors, really.
My geography is not.
Yeah. Carnifex on the Widowmaker. He needs to be absolutely huge here. It's the first time we've seen him start flexing. He's played a hell of a lot of Sombra and Brigitte. The fact he's starting to bring out more rolls on this Anubis, it's really nice to see. Hoping he can put up a good performance while opting just wrecks hell with the Junkrat, as Junkrat does.
I love the Progi throwing that shield all the way up onto the catwalk, right at the choke point, but not going to dissuade Orks GP once that goes away. Then just push all the way up right. Little Flame on the Roadhog. I think it's the first time I've been seeing a Roadhog like the entire day almost. Blowing out a very underused character in this meta so far, and usually an ult battery. We'll see when this blue team decides to move out. Meanwhile, Hakan just move over to the Widowmaker, so ORCP needs to create themselves some room and take the attention away from Hakan on the Widowmaker. Dekis gets knocked down, can't shield the rest of the team, trying to rejoin but pretty slow. Meanwhile, Conga D-Max reckless. Now Dekis charges right in, gets the pin, can't confirm the kill immediately, but Sean eventually gets D-Maxed. Now it's just the Orisa Progi caught in this corner, and Progi will get the kill on Dekis, but the rest of their team has been destroyed, and that'll be them eventually going down to a con. Here's Riptire from Obling, trying to set the scales a little more even, but it is completely body blocked by Reckless, who then shuts down the mouse. 2 minutes and 55 seconds, and point A is going the way of Orks.
Someone's been watching Gladiators VODs. Orks GP trying to come up with their own little iteration on the Great Bamboozle, and even if it's not Hakan who's popping off the securing those kills, the amount of chaos you suddenly get from, wait, there's a Widowmaker in spawn, everyone flee. It allows the rest of Orks GP to clean up, and now with 6.5 minutes on the time bank, moving into second point, they're certainly looking like the stronger team right now.
Yeah, 6 minutes and 30 seconds is certainly an understatement there. And already, Orks GP not hesitating to push aggressively onto the point, led here by Little Flame up in the front, and Dekis will join them. There's a hook, and it pulls Shump right in. Won't be able to get the D-Mech, but the Earthshadow will put Progi on their stomach. Dekis will clean up the kill, and now this is going to force Elo.Tick to engage with the Transcendence from Conga. There's a self-destruct. It boops back the Reinhardt, but the shield doesn't go down, so it's blocked entirely by Dekis. Now Sound Barrier bolstered, helped out by Starboy. 6 minutes on the point, and it looks like that's too much overkill, really, for this Orc squad. They definitely don't need that much time right now with how this fight's going. Sham and Progi both going down, and ultimate here, there's another Riptire. It's Carnifex trying to get in here, and maybe even the odds. The Riptire will throw in and not find Pater. That point will go the way of Orks very quickly. Over 5 minutes on the clock now for this squad.
Yeah, and it's actually a really interesting iteration on the triple tank, triple support we see. Normally Xayah is one of the staples of the comp. You rack up high charge so you can shred through the opposition. You build up a Graviton and win fights at the back of that. But when Little Flame comes out on the Roadhog, it's almost mind games. You're not entirely sure what he's going for. You're so used to playing against Xayah, you're not sure how to make the adjustments. And Combined out with the fact that it is a Roadhog, you can't put a threat out of line out of threat of having a hook pull you in, instant kill. It just puts that little bit of fear in the mind of Elo.Tick, who need to play a lot more passive suddenly, couldn't quite make those adjustments, and ultimately fell. They've still, not all hope is lost, but 2 minutes left on the time bank versus 5:45. We need a Hail Mary right now from Elo.Tick. We need a 60-yard completion, Brett Favre touchdown down the field. Because Elo.Tick, your backs are against the wall. If you don't win this, you're out of playoffs. You need something big.
Yeah, right now they're kind of looking more like Eli Manning in the early parts of a season right now, so we definitely need a change here.
I mean, helmet catches can happen. Don't count them out yet.
Very true, very true. Anubis, though, not entirely sure if they have the footing for this. No cleats on, so I think they won't be losing their step. But here's the offensive attempt now. Orks, GP White in the blue, and Hakan. See, this is the thing. They set the tone of almost every fight. Either they keep the Diva away with some great hooks. Hakan gets an early kill onto Progi right there already. Before this offense really gets anywhere, Vowels, Orks GP silencing them before the checkpoint's even met.
Yeah, and that's 20 seconds off the board already. That's a whole fight taken away from Elo.Tick, and when you only have 2 minutes to start with, you need every fight you can get. Progi trying to get his revenge, dive onto Little Flame up top, but it's just going to rappel away.
And about Little Flame getting close to their ultimate, they're about the farthest along here for the Orc squad, but nothing to worry about because on the other side, really not much ult charge built yet for Elo.Tick. They'll Konga halfway to a nano boost, which they could throw on Progi or Sean, but Sean must be careful, getting a little aggressive on the high ground. A half HP gets bolstered up. Now Elo.Tick looking for a way in through mid as Obling cuts down Apollo in the background. That's the cue to go in, and Sean and the other Winston will move in on the defense, and Orks getting battered around and bruised in the back lines, but still have some bodies on the point. It's Reckless with one on Konga. Progi trying to use a max health pack, but leaving the rest of the team. Obling will find a kill into Hakan though, and then finds Dekis. It's Obling getting some blood on their sword. Apollo super low. Progi trying to confirm the kill. They almost get out, but Progi catches them just in time. Now Progi super low, 60 HP, now down to 0. 40 seconds on the clock for Elo.Tick. It's not the cleanest of fight wins here, but it might get the job done here, Valves. There's the first third. The second and third ticks should come their way in just in time too. 30 seconds on the clock.
And that's why we like seeing dive. Obling comes up huge on the Genji, just shuriken, strike, shuriken, strike. Wreck through the opponents. They've got just on a minute on the board, so they need something huge, but they've got a lot of ultimates coming online. 30% away from the Primal Rage, and that's the furthest away. If there's ever a chance, it's now. The Nano Blade is going to come out.
Nano Blade finds Little Flame. Apollo responds just in time. Can't keep Bria, but at least no one else goes down. Oh no! Apollo can't live alive on their own. The Transcendence gets beat out. Starboy, the res on Little Flame. At least get one of those supports back in. Progi's about to have Primal Rage. We'll be able to use that to fight off Reckless, who's getting bolstered by Little Flame and the Mercy. There's a self-destruct from up above. Doesn't find Pater. Reckless trying to get away from Shump. Little Flame and Dekis trying to help out there. Ooh, Dekis gets biotic grenaded though by the Ana. And that'll be Konga doing that, and Apollo will get revenge finding that Ana here. Now it's 5 seconds remaining on the clock. It is the Orc squad trying to separate and individualize this Elo.Tick squad, but the tanks are staying together still. And Sona's going to touch the point. Overtime's ticking away here, Vowels. And now we're getting closer and closer to Orcs trying to hold off entirely here, Elo.Tick Gaming. Just Elo.Tick. Hakan and Dekis get 2. Advance for Orks GP White. Here's the Hammond trying to create space, but you're no Spider-Man. There's nowhere for you to swing there. No one wants pictures of you. Konga and Sean P going down. Overtime ticks away, and Elo.Tick still have only one player on the point. It is Bims again on the Lucio, trying to sustain long enough for the reinforcements to get there, but the call is not met in time. They'll have to get there another way. And Elo.Tick dropping, unable to get that last point.
I hate to be a pessimist, but I feel like that fight was over almost before it began. As soon as the Nano Blade came out, only got 2. Obling immediately fell, and then one of those picks was resurrected up. You're fighting a 5v5 on point to Anubis. That's never going to end favorably for the offense. They should have backed out. Still a time bank left to get one more fight in. Instead, they drag it out, aren't able to fully capitalize, and now, Orks GP White, you have nearly 6 minutes to cap first point and then get a tick on second. It's going to take a miracle from Elo.Tick. I still have faith. I feel like Elo.Tick can turn this around and keep their playoff hopes alive. But you need something huge now. You needed something huge yesterday. Now you need the mammoth.
Gotta be resurrecting extinct animals out here. I definitely agree. Certainly a behemoth kind of attempt we need here. Gargantuan. I think that's good too. We can keep going with this.
Yeah. just keep going. Someone pull out the thesaurus. We'll find more words to describe
We have to
the task
figure out
ahead.
what's bigger than the next thing and the next thing. And Orks GP White, though, they have so much time on the clock. You're definitely right. A gargantuan effort here would have to be done by the defense to hold off so much time. But they have Obling on the Hanzo and Carnifex on the Junkrats. So they're looking to pop heads. They're looking to just stop and slow down the Slamulence to just be running right through mid, behind the Reinhardt shield, behind the bubble, behind the Bree shield, and they're already pushing right through right side. Carnifex, though, gets hit by the bomb. Starboy takes damage, or Starboy goes down. Little Flame gets knocked away. It's Carnifex gets the kill. Now 5 minutes, under 30 seconds now on that time, and still the defense holding strong here, not getting dissuaded by Orks, who's slowly making their way right side.
Yeah, good start. You only need to do that 6 more times. The offense is a little bit split up for Orks GP White. They've got a couple tanks up on the high ground while everyone else is coming back from spawn. If Sean P can get aggressive here and try and punish like that, take out Starboy, stagger out the offense even further, that's exactly what they needed. There's going to be a slight alteration as Hakan moves over to the Sombra, but now the tanks for Orks GP are isolated on the high ground. There's some potential here.
Yeah, this is just a little bit of ult charge opportunity to build, and Carnifex gonna stop that, hopefully, for them. For the Riptire opportunity, goes in, finds Dekis, goes in deep, gets their biggest target. So Carnifex, again, stymieing this offensive attempt for a few more moments. Of course, though, Hakan trying to build that EMP as quick as possible so they can shut down the defense.
Yeah, they just need to shut down Hakan here. If they can keep the tanks isolated, keep getting these little bit of staggers, and don't let the Sombra push up, you've got a bit of a recipe for success. You can keep eating time through forward. Instead, Orks are going to get aggressive. They're going to punish.
Yeah, I like that. You're putting the bubble onto Reckless so they can charge in without getting DMEC before they get all the way to the front line. Apollo will coalescence Carnifex. Reckless will eventually get DMEC, but 2 kills off of that push gives a 64 advantage for Orks GP White. And now Reckless, who is DMEC, is just going to saunter over to the point. Dekis gets a kill onto Progi, and Orks GP White just easily stealing the point out from under the noses of the Red Squad Elo.Tick. Now it's Obling with a last-ditch effort. Dragon Strike that comes through mid, and that's just going to really be bubble charge here for Little Flame as they soak it all up. Now it's the entirety of point A held here for Orks GP White. 4 minutes and 20 seconds to get 1/3 of point B.
And Bims is just too late on the draw with the Valkyrie. Doesn't bring it out till they've already lost 2 members. You aren't able to get in there to resurrect either, and it's just too little too late. There's going to be a desperation now. Obling's going to move over to the Mei to try and stall out, but Sean P gets staggered. That's huge. Orks can just push straight on in.
Yeah, they're going to, especially with the wall out of the way. And now there's the EMP. There's no cooldowns to be used. Sean P has a self-destruct Congo with there. There's an Earth Shatter, and everyone who's on the point certainly doesn't want to be there. Obling, though, still surviving, weathering the storm here, but is super low on HP. Carnifex trying to even the scale, but Dekis goes down from that. Self-destruct comes out. That's not going to find paydirt for Sean P, and now they're out by themselves, not even on the point. And that'll be it. Orks GP will take Anubis, and that's the set. They will be moving on to face HSL in a Contenders Trials qualification match, while Elo.Tick is out of the tournament. A 3-0 victory here for Orks.
Absolutely huge. Even at the moment where Starboy couldn't step up from the Lucio carry role we were discussing earlier, the rest of the team comes up huge too. Dekis with a monster performance on this main tank, and Hakan as well, living up to his name, hacking on the Sombra. Just constantly playing the Disruptor, not allowing Elo.Tick to set up any defenses properly. And at the end of the day, it's a pretty simple. The scoreline does reflect the match, as far as I'm aware. Elo.Tick put up some great fights, but it was Orks GP, the better team all the way through.
Yeah, they certainly improved it through 3 maps, not dropping a single map throughout the set, and now they've earned their ticket to face HSL in the next round of losers. Again, a Contenders Trials qualification match that will be against HSL. Now it's time to throw it over to the desk for one last time. I know Green Havoc and Panda and Kenobi are waiting to say some stuff for that. Val has been great casting with it today. It's time to throw it over to the desk. What do you guys have to say?
What do we have to say? Honestly, I think you got to see a mind game happen where Elo.Tick just lost out. They clearly weren't able to recover from their first game where they lost it in map 5, and they came into this game, it looked a little disjointed. They didn't look like they were playing like a team, and we've seen these players pop off on multiple stages like we've been talking about, whether it's the World Cup, whether it was, other matches in the open division. We've seen these players perform, but today it just did not manifest. And Orks came out and looked great. So Panda, when it comes to the Orks coming out and looking this strong, and as a 13th seed, where do you see them moving forward in this tournament?
I see them moving forward and continuously looking strong too. Some may say that they were underrated. Most after this match would definitely fend to argue that, of course. Looking at their support line in particular, the casters were saying it. I was saying it. Look out for Starboy and those Lucio and all that kind of fun stuff. It was actually on Anubis, Apollo Zenyatta that really made a strong showcasing. Strong orbs of destruction, followed by those orbs of Discord as well onto prime targets. Just really stuffed Elo.Tick into the ground. We saw Elo.Tick taking that W key that Kenobi was so nice to loan them in the halftime and just absolutely stuff it back in their face by Discord orbs, proper shots, forget the stuns. They always seem to have an answer to everything that Elo.Tick wanted to throw at them, including that blade into their final fight and their final attack there on Temple of Anubis. Although the Brigitte went down from the Nano Blade, they couldn't punish the resurrection. They couldn't stop Starboy from getting that resurrection clean off, and then the Brigitte was back inside the fight. They were back up to triple support. Even the picks that followed there, when they lost their Junkrat, you can lose damage, but they still had the sustain. It was very intense to see the cooperation in between Orks, and I'm very excited to see how much further they're going to go, especially in the fight for a trial spot.
So Kenobi, we taking a look over at Elo.Tick. Now, obviously, this game didn't go their way, and the last one did not as well. But ultimately, they still made it this far, and they went 9-1 through the regular season of the Open Division. So, I mean, what are the bright spots from this game as far as these players maybe making a little bit of a resume for themselves?
I mean, it definitely looked. It didn't look like it was. I mean, we got a 3-0, but it was a little bit closer than the scoreline might have indicated on some of the maps that we saw. I mean, Progi had a good game. Dakesh played out of his mind. Progi was still okay. The one thing that I really want to say about Elo.Tick, and as well, Konga had a really good game on Zenyatta and was trying his best. They have Obling too, who had his pop-off moments. The thing that really bit Elo.Tick in the butt was that they were just using their ultimates willy-nilly, and Overwatch ultimately is a game of ultimates, and you saw slightly some self-implosion coming out from Elo.Tick there, using the Valkyrie when 4 people on your team are already dead, and then you keep the Mercy, you didn't even change, and sometimes tires from Carnifex were going in, not getting even any kills or self-destructs. So you need to, when you have those ultimates, it's always good to have a good bank of ultimates, which Elo.Tick had most of the time. It's just that they're not getting any value, and that's something I'd really like to see them shore up, because I didn't see a lot of combos coming out for them. I didn't see their ults get a lot of value, where on the other side for Orks, you were doing a great job getting those combos, getting those ultimate values. So, and that really is what it came down to this game.
All right. I definitely saw a kind of an ebb and flow happen in this game, where every time it looked like Elo.Tick started to get a little momentum and started to get some of their confidence back, a big play would come out from Orks, typically from Starboy, with some insanely clutch boops and just moving and rotating his team around the map. What do you think was misfiring as far as that rebuild and that revitalization for their team as far as Elo.Tick was concerned?
With Elo.Tick in particular, the one thing that you have to be note of is that they really wanted to hit the gas on Anubis. They really wanted to come out swinging, if you will. We saw full dive coming out, including the Genji. One of the hardest things to always resort back to when you're swapping from 3-3 over to true dive, if you will, with the Tracer and the Genji, is that it actually takes a decent amount of communication. It's much like 3-3 in that format. Everybody assumes that when you're running 3-3 or dive, that it's actually just dive target X and let Y be the next target, but it's a little bit more than that too. You have to be there for your supports to set them up in proper positionings, which we did see from Orks, but Elo.Tick, they were desynchronized, if you will, between their two tanks of Progi and Schnapp as well. Schnappy was really finding a lot of good value in the defense matrix, eating a few key ultimates. But when you're out of mech and you're unsustained because your supports are just getting absolutely obliterated by Discord orbs and by a multitude of cleave damage from Orks, it becomes a little bit harder to find core or key dive targets, especially from Elo.Tick's Progi.
It makes sense, and like we've said, it's a shame to see Elo.Tick go down, but in a way, it's not, because Orks stepped up and made the plays that mattered, and so we are gonna move on to the most fun question of every cast, which is, who is the MVP? Who is the star player? And yes, I kind of did try to set that one up.
I mean, that's an underhanded softball right there to both of us. What you just said right there. I mean, that's an easy one.
So we'll maybe throw in some highlights because we do know who was shining the brightest. But what about you, Kenobi, as far as the MVP discussion?
I mean, I think Panda is gonna say Starboy, so I'm gonna go ahead and switch it over. My pick to Hakan, who I think played a very good game himself. Val's mentioned it at the end of there. He says Hakan living up to his name, hacking those enemies and doing a great job on that Sombra. We saw, especially on that last Anubis dive, very coordinated dive coming out from Orks, where they hacked the Zenyatta and then immediately, like snap of the fingers, the Kest was there to pump out that damage and get that Zenyatta out of the fight early. Everything else falls around behind that. And also on the Brigitte when he was playing, doing a great job of getting those stuns so that they could shatter the shield bashes, the rallies, and they were just all very clean positioning wise coming out from Hakan. So he definitely gets my shout.
Panda, what about you?
Snapping of the fingers, I like that. It was a good little fit in there. I mean, I would honestly really like to give it a Starboy, as much as my co-analyst is feeding me both that I went 2-0 today in predictions, but also that I am your resident support man as well. I can't just give it to Starboy within his own right. This entire team of Orks were firing off on all cylinders today, but I'm going to give it to the entire group of the support duo in between Apollo and Starboy as well. They were always setting each other up for success. I mean, even in Rialto, when Starboy was able to boop up the Reinhardt and kind of keep himself alive by taking the charge into the middle of the room and letting the Reinhardt get bursted down all the way by Apollo's biotic grenades on a multitude of maps, setting up Starboy's aggression to enable his tanks to go forward and to claim those eliminations as well. They together were really setting up the entirety of the team. Starboy definitely had a few more flashier plays. That is the Lucio lifestyle for sure that we are very happy to see again in this current patch, but it definitely wouldn't happen without the success of being set up properly by his co-support as well by Apollo. I think both of them really helped out Orks take this victory here today.
Very well said. One other shout out that I'm going to give is to Kanga because despite falling, his play was, I mean, clinical in so many maps to even keep them in fights. And sometimes we even saw his effort his value not get the follow through that it maybe deserved, which is a little bit of goes on to why Starboy had such a good game with those rotations. But we saw great sleeps, bios, we saw swaps. I mean, it was all around good play, and I definitely hope to see more of him in the future. As far as this cast goes, we are going to be wrapping up, so I will give my analyst one last chance. Is there anything that you want to flex on as far as this game goes before we get out of here?
It's 2-0. I can't really say anything. This is all Panda's time right now.
I mean, honestly, with Starboy in particular, like I've been holding myself back from saying this. Like the way that goats are played out, you almost kind of wish that you had a herder on your team. I would say that Starboy is much like the border collie of the entire team of Orks. He's able to just keep the goats well intact and enabled. That's something that you need to be aware of when you're moving your way into this current composition and going forward. But they're facing HSL tomorrow, so they need to be on their best. They need to be putting their best foot forward, of course, and taking these compositions and running with it, looking back as much as they possibly can, because they have a match ahead of themselves tomorrow. My sign-off point, though, is he's a Starboy. You got to keep him out of the sky and just watch out for him, because the way that he sets up his tanks, that is something scary to look out for. Even though HSL is the #1 seed, they're going to have their backs against the wall against this team tomorrow.
My sign-off point is Vive la France. We're going to do it tomorrow. Orks are going to do it, even though I picked against them this time. I'll pick for them this time. Maybe if I pick against them, they'll win. So maybe it's the reverse psychology right there.
Kenobi believes.
I believe. I have my French flag somewhere, but
confidence is contagious, and Orks showed that they have it. So moving forward into tomorrow, they're going to be on high, and hopefully they can continue this run, because I love watching the underdogs perform well. As far as this cast, though, we are wrapping up and getting out of here. So thank you, Panda. Thank you for Kenobi for your insight into these teams throughout the day. A quick shout out to Vowels and Rapture, who were our casters, and of course, Cappuccino for putting together the whole show and, well, making us all look good. I've been Green Havoc. This has been Broadcast.GG's coverage of the EU Open Division. I hope you join us for tomorrow, where we will have eliminations, trials, spots will be secured, and there's so much drama on the line as all of these teams fight to prove that they deserve these spots and that they are the best teams left in contention. Anyway, until we see you then, have a good one and enjoy your day.